Hello, fifth graders. So today we're going to be going over Chapter 4 of our Social Studies textbook, Why Europeans Left for the New World. We will be going over Sections 4.1, which is the introduction, and Section 4.2, which is about archaeology. First, I just want to go over the learning targets and materials for today. Pretty much, learning targets are the things we want to be able to do by the end of this lesson. So the first learning target is that I can find the definitions of important terms in a textbook. I can identify why Europeans called the Americas the New World and why this wasn't really the case, and that I can describe what archaeologists do. And the materials we will need to be able to meet these learning targets are our History Alive textbook, Chapter 4, which is on page 39. Okay, then I just want to go through with you real quick the different things that you'll be doing during this assignment, and then we will hop into the chapter and go from there. So first, you will be needing to do some vocabulary terms. You will have to match the word to the definition, so that way you are able to understand those important terms. And then you will need to be answering a couple of different questions about the New World. And then you will have to answer 3 more questions about underwater archaeology and what archaeologists do. Alright. So let's hop into our textbook and get going on this chapter. So, Chapter 4, Why Europeans Left for the New World. As we go, I will be highlighting or underlining different things that you will need in order to answer the questions on the Google Slides presentation. Alright, so 4.1 Introduction. In Chapter 3, you read about Native American cultural regions. In this chapter, you will learn why Europeans sailed to the Americas, which they called the New World. So Europeans sailed to America, which they called the New World. So to them this was new because they had to travel to the New World. Okay? So moving on, of course, to Native Americans this was not the New World. They had lived here for thousands of years. So Native Americans already were living in this world or in this land for thousands of years before the Europeans arrived there. Okay. So moving on once again, the 1500s. The 1500s were the age of exploration for Europeans. Prior to this time, only a few people had traveled very far from Europe, beginning with Columbus's famous voyage to North America in 1492. Europeans wanted to search lands unknown to them. So, during the age of exploration, Europeans wanted to search lands unknown to them, right? And who else would try to find these lands but explorers? Explorers sailed small ships across large oceans that few had crossed before. So explorers were the ones that actually went to these new lands to find good things there. So let's move on here. Ocean storms and rocky shores sometimes destroyed their ships. Today, people find and excavate or dig up such sunken ships. They look for artifacts such as tools and gold coins on the nearby ocean floor. These objects reveal why explorers sailed to new lands and what they found there. So that's a good introduction into the next section when we talk about archaeologists. Look at the drawing of the sunken ship to the right. As you read this chapter, imagine that you are a diver investigating a sunken ship to learn about European exploration. What objects might you find? What clues do they give about why Europeans come to the continent of North America? So what this book wants you to do is, as we go through these different sections, it wants you to pretend that you're an archaeologist digging up different types of materials that show why Europeans sailed to the New World. All right, so let's move on to section 4.2 here. So archaeologists, which they just gave a little bit of information about, often look for sunken ships. So they look for sunken ships in order to understand the Europeans who first explored the Americas. Sorry, let that disappear there. Okay. So to find a sunken ship, archaeologists examine old ship records. So they can examine old ship records kept by the European merchants. That's one way that they can find a sunken ship. They also can read tales from shipwreck survivors as well. And they also sometimes use machines to help find a ship's anchor or cannons. A good example of a machine that they use to find anchors and cannons are sonar, which is a technology that uses sound to locate sunken objects. All right. And then archaeologists need to know the location of each artifact on a sunken ship. So they need to know the location. To do this, they can mark off the site in squares with cables or plastic tubing. And then using this grid that they created with the plastic, or with the squares, with the cables and plastic tubing, they can carefully record each object's location. This information will help archaeologists decide who probably used the objects and for what purposes. Each artifact must be photographed and then brought to the surface, tagged, recorded on a list, and examined, I believe that word is. And cleaned, metal artifacts usually survive the longest. Objects made of plants or animal products may disappear. After studying hundreds of artifacts, archaeologists may be able to tell the name of the ship, where it was going, and why, perhaps even who was on it. Finding a sunken ship often takes many years. Bringing up the remains, So notice how finding a sunken ship often takes many years. Bringing up the remains can take even weeks or years. Understanding what the object means takes even longer. So read on to learn about the artifacts that give clues about why Europeans sailed to the New World, which we will be doing in the next lesson. Thank you for listening, and we will continue this another day.